Hello, everybody. Welcome to Houston with a Problem. It's Monday after a weird weekend. There's still all sorts of rumblings that Bank of America is essentially bankrupt. Um, they're $57 billion in the hole right now, year on. And, I don't know about branches near you, but the branch in my town can't find anyone to work for them because they're the only bank not willing to pay more than minimum wage. So they keep close. Excuse me, they keep closing because people don't want to work there. And if your bank can't pay people who handle their money more than minimum wage, it's probably some bad news. But the other big news is the Pandora Papers started getting released about, I don't know, 8 articles in the last 24 hours. There's, I think, a bunch more coming. So Pandora Papers play on the Paradise Papers and the Panama Papers that came out in 2016, 2017. And those were data leaks out of from shell corporations, about shell corporations. And largely it deals with Europeans who were offshoring money through law firms in Panama. This one is no different, but it's just a lot bigger. So there were several, 100,000 or so documents in the previous two leaks that came out. This one was 11.9 million documents and details essentially money laundering operations for over 30 world leaders, hundreds of millionaires and billionaires, lots of folks that were hiding money, offshoring money, draining their local countries of capital and putting them into real estate markets in hard currency nations. So the big ones that got revealed, the Prime Minister of Czech Republic, the Prime Minister of Pakistan, the King of Jordan, the British royal family were tied to it, as well as Tony Blair and his wife. Who else? Kremlin, like crazy. They basically showed that Putin, who in some circles is regarded as the wealthiest person in the world. 2014, they estimated Putin's net worth at $200 billion. And it's only grown since then. That there's lots of people who are nobodies that have hundreds and hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars in wealth around the world in these shell corporations and in properties in, Monaco, private yachts, things like that. And these are folks that are Russian citizens that might live in a humble home, drive a used Toyota, still go to work every day. And if you ask them, like, hey, how come you're worth $1 billion? They're like, I'm worth $1 billion. And government officials come and they say, sign this document. So they sign that document. And then, some shell corporation gets formed in Panama or Cyprus or something. And hundreds of millions of dollars of wealth that either directly involve Putin or his inner circle get launched out there into the world. The big thing that these folks are doing is that they're taking large chunks of wealth. They go to Cyprus or to Panama, and they talk to attorneys. There's one in Australia too, I believe, so far in the articles that came out. And they talk to these attorneys and say, "Hey, I don't want to pay taxes. I don't want anyone to know who I am. I don't want them to know about my wealth. What can you do for me?" And they will create some sort of innocuous shell company, holding company, like Upper Echelon Holdings, and that holding company will then purchase land or invest in markets under that holding company's name. They'll invest with hedge funds. They'll buy condos in New York. They'll buy townhomes in London. They'll buy apartments in Monaco. They'll buy mansions in France. They'll purchase all this land. So they have these holdings in hot real estate markets in hard currency dollars elsewhere in the world under the names of these holding companies. And it's a way for them to move cash out of their nations and into safe long-term investments. The King of Jordan had spent $33 million on a Malibu mansion, townhome, or a 4-story townhome in Belgravia in London. Very fancy, very posh area. You walk down the streets in Belgravia, and it's like McLaren, Ferrari, Lamborghini, Bugatti, all the way down the street. And the when the Panama Papers came out in 2016, the Prime Minister of Pakistan ran on anti-corruption. He said, "Hey, we're going to get rid of this corruption. Look at all of our elites who have done this stuff." And the Pandora Papers revealed that he and his cabinet have been doing all those things also, and that they you know, took money out of the country and dumped it into these really fancy homes and condos and apartments elsewhere in the world. These shell corporations get made in Cyprus. They get made in Panama. They get made in British Virgin Islands. Lots of them British Virgin Islands. They get made in South Dakota. South Dakota is a tax haven for these folks. So there's lots of like corrupt oligarch and mafia money in South Dakota. Yeah, so there's a lot more to come out. It took them 2 years of going through these documents before they were ready to release their first articles. So they've had this stuff for a couple of years now, and they're just now coming out. A couple of the groups, I think it's the Prime Minister of Czech Republic is up for re-election like next week, and it was revealed that he used shell corporations to purchase a luxury mansion in France and things like that. So wait for more balls to drop on this bugger. It is just, there's a lot more to come. And so far, no Americans specifically have been named, but the United States is one of the places where they will purchase property to hold. So we have issues in big urban areas like New York, Los Angeles, Seattle, San Francisco, where property prices are absolutely insane. And they might not necessarily be insane due to actual people who live there trying to find places to live, but because of outside foreign investment. So you'll have huge, beautiful, modern apartment towers in New York that get built, and they are 75% empty, even though they are owned. Every single unit is owned, because what happens is, some Saudi billionaire, some, Russian oligarch, they will buy a $50 million penthouse in that building. And all that is a savings account. No one will live there. No one will ever live there. It's just a way of storing their money somewhere where it's safe. And they'll keep their money there. And, maybe someday it will sell again to some other oligarch. But what it does is it puts a force on real estate developers not to develop homes for people who live there, but to develop fancy penthouses and luxury apartments specifically for places for these oligarchs to park their money. And it was happening with Chinese investment in Vancouver, Canada, where home prices have just gotten insane. And these folks who were investing from China and Hong Kong were spending millions and millions and millions of dollars on, average homes, and then buying luxury homes as well. And so what the BC government did was they basically made an occupancy tax. So if a home was unoccupied, you got charged 1% the value of the home in a tax penalty. So all of a sudden, all these luxury homes are now renting to college students for pennies, because renting for $400 a month to a college student is cheaper than paying $75,000 or $100,000 a year in taxes on some giant luxury home. We may have to start looking at that in local governments across the United States to keep the real estate market from getting out of whack. But so long story short, lots of billionaires are offshoring their money. They're draining local economies. The Pandora Papers were from leaks from Credit Suisse and from a law firm in Panama. And so they mostly deal with Central Asian, Middle East, and Russian and European rich people. Not necessarily Americans. Americans seem to offshore their money through the Caymans, through the Bahamas, Aruba, places like that, while the Europeans are offshoring through Cyprus, through Australia, through Singapore, through Panama. And then they look for their other tax havens where they'll, make their residence in Monaco where there's no taxes and things like that. So we're gonna see more of these articles drop, tying more world leaders, I believe, to these things. What the Tony Blair and the British Crown had done was that they had purchased buildings that were owned by holding companies. They purchased holding companies that owned buildings. So Tony Blair and his wife purchased a £6.5 million office building, and what they did was they bought it through buying the holding company. And so if you buy the company that owns a building, you don't pay a tax on the transfer of that building. But if you buy the building directly, you pay a tax on it. So it's a way of avoiding taxes. And so if you have a building you want to buy a property in the UK, you want to create a holding company that buys the property, and that way it's called a stamp tax, and you can avoid those taxes. And then if you want to buy property from someone else, you want to make sure they have a holding company when you buy the property. These are things that are not available to the average Briton, but rich people have the lawyers and the accountants and the folks that can make that stuff happen. Okay, take a swig here. Let us jump into the chat because there's a whole bunch in here that I've totally missed. I'm going to try the super chats first, and we'll get back in here. All right, so we got... Who do we have? I got Chakuseki. I am deeply concerned about the Ken Griffin interview. He sounds like he is running for office, specifically Mayozar. I haven't seen the Ken Griffin interview yet. I need to watch that. I've spent all my time reading the Pandora Papers, so I have not seen it yet. That's something I have to do when this is over. Stamp Duty. Sorry, Stamp Duty. That's the name. And then Foley Insider sent a super chat, but then retracted the question before I had a chance to answer it. So if you want to put the question back out there, I will answer it again for you, my man or my lady, whoever you may happen to be. Okay, Brandon T says his wife wants them to sell their AMC when it gets to $100. Please explain why it's smarter to hold out for life-changing money instead. Well, the whole point of the short squeeze of the MOAS is that the shareholders control who gets the shares. And if liquidations happen of these hedge funds and the banks start going belly up trying to pay this stuff out, the federal government is going to have to bail these folks out, and they still have to balance the books somehow. And the only way they can balance the books is by clearing out all the synthetic shares, which means they pretty much have to buy everything over and over and over, and either delete the synthetic shares or get a real share and replace a synthetic share with that to get the FTD out of the way. And like a school of fish, we are a hive mind, and folks who own these stocks, they don't want to sell. They don't want to sell for $100. They want to sell for thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. So, Brandon T's wife, would you rather sell your shares for $100 a share, or would you rather sell them for $5, $10, $50, $75, $100,000 a share? Which one is going to benefit you more in the long run? And so I asked myself that question, and I said, I'm going to sell for hundreds of thousands of dollars a share or more. And that's where I am. I want to retire, not just pay for a vacation. So, Brandon T's wife, I think Brandon's looking to retire. You might be looking for a nice vacation. Either way, you win because you will get more than you paid for it. But I'm personally holding out longer. It's not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. Okay. William Morgan. Hollywood unions voted 99% in favor of a market-wide strike to shut down television and movie production. Over 150,000 union members involved. Yeah, this is what's the name of the union? I can't remember the name of the union. It's the one that does makeup artists, lighting guys, all those folks. So they have a lot of issues. I was reading some horror stories. One person who was a set designer, a prop manager for stunts, they had been hit by a car, broke their neck, and were in the hospital. And all they could think about was, I need to be discharged because I got a stunt tomorrow. I got to coordinate and do all these things. And the doctor's like, no, you're not going anywhere. And they finally discharged themselves with a broken neck, showed up to set because they were the prop manager for a television production. And if they didn't show up, they had no more job. And if they have no more job, they've got no more health insurance. They have no more health insurance, you're screwed. So they're looking for, some guaranteed days off, guaranteed working hours, and, not to be overworked constantly. And they want to be treated like human beings. So I think, a lot of actors are behind it. A lot of directors are behind it. I think the producers are probably pretty angry, but, these folks shouldn't be abused in their roles. Okay. Champion Chad, please verify if possible. Dr. Quantrillions posted on Twitter, so someone deleted large sections of routing. That doesn't mean face is just down. From the looks of it, it means Facebook is gone. Really? I know it's still, if I go to my Facebook, there's a couple of things posted on there. Everything's basically a day old, or a few days old, 6 days old, day old, 3 days old, 11 hours. That one's pretty new. 11 hours, 1 day, 22 hours. So nothing is new. It's on there. And if I go to my notifications, the newest notification is 4 hours old, and it just does, I don't know if you can see it's just doing I'm trying to load this thing forever, and nothing works. Apparently Instagram the same way. I haven't logged into Instagram at all. Let's see here. Yeah, Instagram is just a spinning circle. Nothing. Oh, something just appeared white in the spinning circle. So, and nope, couldn't refresh feed. So Instagram is down also. I wonder if that was hackers or not, getting back at the revelation that Facebook as a corporation knew that if they deal with false information and Nazis and groups like that, that people would spend less time on Facebook. Which some calculation they had that if they made Facebook a welcoming environment, that people spend less time there is a weird thing to think about. But yeah, that appears to be what the case. So if it's gone, that's interesting. I'll be curious to see, because it's been several hours that it's been down like this. I've seen it down before, but not this long. Interesting. I'll have to look up Dr. Quantrillions and see what they had to say. But Facebook stock. What's Facebook stock doing today? What did it do today? Let's see here. Facebook is down 5%. It was down as much as 5.79% today. As low as it got. Currently, it's down about 4.5%. But if it's still not going tomorrow, then there's some serious bad news coming. And Champion Chat also super chats originally posted by Benjamin Einfeld. You were a smart dude. Wanted to have your take. See if it was possible. What was that? What was that in relation to? See if it was possible. What was that question related to? I don't see it. And he says also Biden Griffin Facebook whistleblower equals tin hat. Huh. Interesting. Yeah, so I think we'll probably see a lot of Facebook in the news tonight and tomorrow if this thing is still just a spinning circle of can't load. We're talking about a company that's valued at hundreds of billions of dollars, where appreciable portion of the internet routing is to their website and through their app for people to basically yell at each other. And it's gonna be interesting. It's pretty weird to think about, like, if a savvy enough hacker can get in there and basically just delete an entire company from existence. Whoa. You might want to improve your security a bit there. Equinox MVZ. Do you think after all this is settled, everyone involved will have learned their lesson about these synthetic shares and never let it happen again? I think there's going to be some serious post-mortem on after MOAS. They are going to say, okay, we cannot defeat the retail investors who want to hunt these shorted stocks. So they're going to have two options. One is keep the retail investors out of the market, or regulate the market itself in that you don't allow synthetic shares to be produced, you don't allow naked shorting, you limit the powers of market makers to do such things, and you start cracking down on that. Now, option one, the problem with option one is that retail investors are a huge portion of the market, and that's where hedge funds have basically gotten their money from in the past, is by screwing over retail investors and taking their money. So if you take all the rubes out of the market, how are these folks going to make their money? Option two limits the ability to steal from the rubes. So, the SEC and regulators are probably like, ooh, how are we going to do this? And I think the post-mortem is going to come down to exactly how it gets framed by those in power, whether they're going to blame the retail investors for it, or if they're going to blame the bad actions by the hedge funds for the last 30 years for it. I lean towards the blaming the hedge funds for 30 years of naked short selling than blaming the retail investors who finally figured out a method for destroying that naked shorting. And Gary Gensler's comments last week before, he said something to the effect of, yeah, you can't blame retail investors for figuring out how to beat these shorts. That's the role. That's their job in the market. If it's their money, they're allowed to short squeeze this stuff, and that's the risky play. So I think Gary Gensler is going to side not against the retailers. He's going to side on the retailer side when it comes to regulating this in the future after post MOAS. So that's my feeling anyway. Okay, did I miss anybody while I was yakety yakking? Okay, got Equinox, got Champion Chad, got Champion Chad. Okay. All right, let's scroll back up here and see what you guys are chatting about, because I'm already like, well, these chats are from like 150 and it's 130 or 1250, it's almost 130. Okay. Well, Resident Fleece says Panama Papers dropped and nothing happened. Well, nothing happened here because the Panama Papers didn't deal with any folks that were Americans, really, because it was mostly Europeans who were offshoring through Panama that way. It resulted in new governments in the Czech Republic, new governments in places like Pakistan. So it did have big effects elsewhere, just not in the United States. The Panama Papers. So we could talk about WikiLeaks a second. WikiLeaks, when they first released information, they basically released anything that came along. And all of a sudden, they stopped releasing information that had to do with Russia. They were offered on multiple occasions, like, hey, here's a whole bunch of data on Russia, release it. And WikiLeaks is like, no, I cannot verify any of this. I will not release it. And then it got passed on to someone else who released it. And then it turned out, oh, look at all this money laundering by Russia. Look at all these weird weapon systems. Look at the Russian domestic spying program, things like that. And so for the last, 10 years or so, WikiLeaks really hasn't released anything that was Russia related. They were given the opportunity of releasing the Panama Papers, and they said, no, we're not going to release that. And so it went to a consortium of 100 or so reporters, and they worked on it, and they released it. And all of a sudden, it's like, oh, look at all this money laundering that Russians are doing. And look at all these guys from the Kremlin that are taking hundreds of billions of dollars out of Russia and dumping them into European and American real estate through these shell corporations in Panama. And the that one reporter in, was it Malta, that had worked on the Panama Papers? Yeah, car bomb blew him up. So was it Cyprus? I can't remember which island in the Mediterranean it was. So that, Julian Assange at the time was literally on the payroll of the Russian government with his TV show on RT. And he's saying, oh, I'll leak anything. But then he was just refusing outright to leak anything that had to do with Russia. So, if you have anything Russian to leak, you're not gonna send it to WikiLeaks anymore. You're gonna probably send it to the ICIJ or other groups that can pour over these huge data dumps and actually get the information out there. So, Julian Assange may have been an anarchist at heart, but when I think he ended up locked inside the Ecuadorian embassy in London, I wouldn't doubt if some Russian agents were like, you are going to stop leaking things on Russia and we let you live. And he was probably like, you got it. So it appears to be where he went. Okay. Hey, Houston, what music will you be listening to when the MOAS starts? P.S. My suggestion to change the live cast to shirt design. What music will I be listening to? It's got to be pumping. It's got to be absolutely just like so. A lot of death metal and a lot of rap probably. That'll be what my Stoke music will be. Just thunderous. I want it thunderous, and I want either 808 kick drums blowing on my eardrums or double bass drums just blowing on my eardrums. One or the other. That's probably where we'll be going. And Rage Against the Machine might be appropriate also for such a date. Okay. Lunar Swine says every stock in the American exchange goes down if the U.S. government's credit rating gets downgraded, unless they have something like, say, a well-funded dividend to prop up the price. That's true. And there's also several companies that announced in the last few weeks that they're doing massive stock buybacks. Dell and Microsoft among them. Microsoft's doing a $60 billion stock buyback. So they're obviously going to be trying to keep that price up while everything else gets absolutely hammered by whatever is coming on the horizon here. And then Magus Creed, not going to lie, starting to get a little feeling of dread in the pit of my stomach about what's about to go down in the markets. I'm excited for apes everywhere, but scared for all the innocent bystanders. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, the market getting absolutely hammered into the ground and possibly seeing long-term effects of a whole bunch of crazy plays that have been going on. We're looking at huge unemployment rates, housing crisis. What's going on there, buddy? Get a little warm. We've got gigantic supply chain issues. Holy moly. There's 100 ships sitting off the port of Long Beach all the way down to Dana Point that just can't unload cargo because A, there's not enough people at the ports to do it, and B, there's not truck drivers, there's not trains coming in. There's a massive breakdown in the supply chain, and I think this winter is going to be really sketchy as to what's available in certain places around the world and in the United States. We've got trucks and cars at dealerships that are just rotting because they don't have little plastic gaskets for door frames. They don't have wiper motors. They don't have little computer chips, the semiconductors they need to run their ECUs. So we've got a lot of product that got made and can't be sold because they're not finished. And the supply chain is completely broken down. And one of the things in the infrastructure bills that have been proposed to Congress is essentially, fixing part of that supply chain problem by subsidizing things like semiconductor manufacturers inside the United States. So we aren't relying upon foreign manufacturers. And those foreign manufacturers can do two things. One, they can limit the supply of semiconductors just for the hell of it to screw with us. Or two, if they have some sort of failing, earthquake, EMP, pandemic, whatever, we aren't then subject to whatever's happening in their country. Much of the global supply chain is now basically make on demand, and the minute there's a hiccup, there can be lots of issues with getting the products you need to assemble these components. It used to be that companies like Ford and GM and Chrysler, they made every single solitary part that went into their cars. Their subcontractors, their suppliers, oftentimes were still subsidiaries of that larger company. Now you've got these mega corporations, and they are subcontracting out so much that they are not responsible for the manufacture of a lot of these parts. There's just some contract. So you've got issues like Boeing. Boeing decided in the early 2000s that, hey, we've got a lot of international customers. We should stop focusing all of our production in one spot in the Seattle region, and we should make these a globally assembled airplane. So with the 787, they contracted out to the Chinese, the Taiwanese, the Japanese. They had all these parts made all over the world and sent to assembly plants where things would get assembled. Well, they had a few issues with that. One, they had those batteries that were made in Japan that would just explode. They had problems where the carbon fiber plants in China, the Chinese stole the technology to build a cheaper airplane that could rival the 737. So all of a sudden they were facing competition because they basically gave away technology secrets to the Chinese. It hasn't worked out in their favor in the long run. The development of the 787 cost like $30 billion more than they planned, and it lost them a boatload of money. So the global supply chain can be good for some things and really, really bad for other things. Okay. Monty Super Chats. What evidence can you provide that AMC is a negative beta stock? You can just look up its negative beta. That's not that hard. We will go. Let's go here. Let's do AMC beta. So 5-year beta is 1.44. So let's see here. What's their, this is 0.66. So 5-year beta here is 1.33. 1-year beta is negative 6.15. So if you calculate the beta for the last year, it's negative 6.15. If you calculate the beta for 5 years, it's 1.44. This one is negative 4.81. So it depends on when you calculate it. If you calculate it to over 10 years, it's probably a positive beta stock. If you calculate it over 1 year, it's definitely a negative beta stock. So that's how you figure out if it's negative beta or positive beta. Just look it up. All right. God damn it. I thought I turned that off. I swear I clicked on that thing and I turned it off. I swear I did that. Okay. All right. Hi, monkey. How are you? You look a little antsy in the pantsy. Okay. Come on, get up here. Get up there. Get up in your bed. Do it. There you go. David Barney. Hi, Houston. Hope you had a great weekend. Worked overtime all weekend and couldn't part with my AMC, so I just started buying GME, the small dip. Grandpa Barney loves your show, keeping the lights on. Thank you, my man. I appreciate that. Andrew Stewart, send me some coordinates. Looks like we are going somewhere in the world. 43 degrees north, 107 degrees west. Where is that? That's going to be like Idaho, Wyoming? Let's see here. Let's see. Let's go to the Google Earth. Where we? Oh, can't. Oops. What the heck? It did not want to copy that. Go there. There we go. All right, we're flying. We're flying to Colorado. Is that where I am? Or am I in Nebraska? I'm in Wyoming. I can't tell. Where am I? I am in Wyoming. Okay. Along I-80, Powder River. We're looking at, what is this, Badlands here? Hell's Half Acre. Hell's Half Acre. Oh, ooh, yeah, we got some Badlands. Gorgeous. Little bits of snow still in there. There's a cool little cave. Yeah. How did, what's this person standing on? Did they fly a drone in here? Yeah. Well, that's a pretty cool spot. Yeah, the Badlands, the largest portion of it is in South Dakota, but there's Badlands-like land in North Dakota and in Wyoming. This place is gorgeous. Look at that. That's so cool. Find lots of fossils in places like this. Excellent spot. Good spot. Hell's Half Acre. I dig it. Exit Street View. Doesn't look that gnarly down in it, right down here, but you get close, it does look gnarly. Yeah, so let's see here. Is that I-80? No, it's Highway 20. So we need to go, look at those. Look at that fold. That's cool. Let's look at Wyoming here. Got Casper. Okay, that's where we are. So it's Rollins, Rock Springs. Where's Riverton? Riverton is Table Rock, Rock Springs, Rollins, Barrel, Jeffrey City, Green River, Little America. So where is this? Is that Black Butte? No, that's not Black Butte. Sorry, I'm trying to go through places I visited in my brain, and there's Riverton. So there's really cool opals out here on the hill above Riverton. Really, really cool opals up in here. Basically, opals that got formed from the Yellowstone volcano erupting and just laying down, hundreds of feet of ash across things. Thermopolis is really cool. There's hot springs here, and this is the Wind River Canyon. This canyon will break your brain. It will. You'll go through the canyon, and it feels like you're going downhill and the water is running the wrong direction. It will absolutely just hurt your skull looking at it because the way that the whole land is tilted. And so you are going, the river is going this way, and you are going down, you're going uphill, but feels like you're going downhill. It's so weird how your brain just cannot rectify the fact that I can't even explain it. Just go take Highway 20, go through Wind River Canyon from Thermopolis to I can't remember the name of this lake, Wind River Lake or whatever. And this is Shawnee Reservation is in here. It is the weirdest. It's so weird, and it's really cool though because you go from fairly recent rocks to the stuff that gets exposed right at the end of this lake here is like 1.5 billion years old. So there's some really old rocks that get exposed there. Okay, I'm rambling. Monty, what's your price outlook for AMC for the remainder of the month? And do you think the U.S. will default on October 18th? Well, it's October 4th, and we've made no strides towards doing anything about the debt ceiling. So we've got 2 weeks. We've got 14 days to actually do something. Now, will anybody do anything is the big question. And I think that, if anything, the Republicans are going to push it to the very last moment before they agree. But they're really just playing a game of chicken. And I doubt we'll see any headway made until the last moment, if anything. We may face that week before, on the 14th or 15th, we may face a credit downgrade, which will just hammer stocks if we face a credit downgrade on this. But I'm not really seeing much. The Joe Manchin and Kristen Cinema, they suck. They really do. They are terrible at their job, and I think they're probably just terrible people in general. And they're not going to lift a finger. And the problem is that they won't even tell their coworkers what it is they want. They have no listed demands at all. They're just like, no, I'm not gonna support anything. Well, what do you want? I don't know. Like, they're terrible. They're terrible at their jobs. They are bad people. Joe Manchin and Kristen Cinema, you are terrible people. Do your job. Uh, yeah, I can't imagine the hair that's being pulled out in frustration by everyone else trying to work with those two yahoos. But we need the infrastructure bill because our infrastructure is ancient, and there's lots of things in there that help retirees, help children, help our supply chain issues. It's a fraction of the price of what we spend on the military every year, and we need infrastructure to keep the economy moving. If our infrastructure falls apart, we're Mad Maxing it. And it's not going to be Mad Maxing and relaxing. It's going to be Mad Maxing and avoiding cannibal gangs while you stick to the shadows. Yeah, so do your job. Just raise the debt ceiling already if you don't want the entire global economy to just vaporize and have, hundreds of millions of people around the world and tens of millions, if not 100 million people in the United States, all of a sudden wondering how they're going to find food. Just raise the stupid thing. Okay. Lunar swine. 2011 credit downgrade led to a contraction of 30%. The banks have been predicting 30% correction for months. Wonder why. Yeah, exactly, lunar swine. Exactly. Okay. I mean, we'll be shipping our champagne and living in our villas, but everyone else, we'll have to have like high gates and tall fences and stuff to keep the hordes out. So, that's the warlord future we'll all be looking forward to. And everyone's talking about the Bloomberg interview. I've got to check the Bloomberg interview. I've not seen it yet, so I need to see that. Yeah, Anna Rulnick, surprised that South Dakota was so prevalent in the Pandora Papers. How can a U.S. state hide $360 billion for foreigners and companies accused of wrongdoing and human rights abuses? Does Fed have any jurisdiction? That is what I'm wondering too. Is that shouldn't federal laws come into play? And shouldn't we've got lots of laws in the United States about forcing bankers to do due diligence on customers. If they believe these customers are liquidating assets out of foreign states, draining the money from the people of these foreign countries, if the money is taken through crime, if it was used in briberies, I mean, heck, one of the groups. One of the people that got busted was what's the telecom company? I can't remember now. I've read this stuff all, and it's all like, bleh. But it's a British citizen who was in charge of fundraising for the Tories, and he spent over 300 million pounds on bribing the government of Uzbekistan to be able to allow their telephone company to operate there. And what they did was they paid that money to the first daughter of the premier of Uzbekistan, not to the premier himself. And she's currently facing charges in the United States and in Uzbekistan and in Great Britain and other places in Europe for soliciting bribes, corruption, abuse of power, all sorts of things. And, the powers that be investigated this stuff back when it happened, and the telecom company and its leader were like, no, we're not doing any bribes. And then eventually it was turned out, yeah, you guys did lots of bribes. You spent hundreds of millions of dollars or pounds on buying off government officials' daughter to be able to get, your tech in there. So yeah, we're seeing, I think we're going to see even hairier stuff get dropped by these groups. The reporters about all these things in the Pandora Papers. All right. Oh yeah, John Cromer. I always forget. Yes, hit the like button, subscribe, hit the little bell. I always forget to tell people to do that stuff. Thank you for reminding me. Don't forget the like button. I need to put that like on a post-it note in front of me. It just says like and subscribe. Hit the little alert bell. Please do those things. Yes. SHIB is rocking. Holy crap. Shiba Inu is up like 50%. Let's see here. Here's a little thing. So when Coinbase Pro launched Shiba Inu on their platform, there was a huge arbitrage of, like, at one point, Shiba Inu was trading for like 80 times more on Coinbase Pro than it was on crypto.com. And I was in Hawaii enjoying myself on the beach, and my friend was like, dude, transfer everything into Coinbase Pro now. You're going to make so much money. And my friend made like $100,000 transferring what he had in Shiba Inu to Coinbase Pro and selling it. I tried to transfer in Coinbase Pro, I was like, give me a wallet. Coinbase Pro was like, circle of doom. And it did that for 24 hours. And it finally gave me a wallet when the arbitrage had settled and the prices across both platforms were essentially the same. So I was like, So I sat in there. Okay, now Robinhood is going to be launching not just Shiba Inu, but they're going to be launching crypto wallets finally, so you can move money in and out of Robinhood via crypto, which is going to be a big deal for those who are still stuck in Robinhood. But I am suspecting there's also going to be a giant arbitrage the day they launch their wallet, so I will hopefully be trading that stuff over to Robinhood and selling it for a boatload of money. That's my hope. But right now, Shiba Inu has dropped to zero. It's up 65.64% right now today. So Shiba Inu is rocketing. Maybe a pump and dump is happening with Shiba Inu. But yeah, it's up 65. At one point it was up, goodness, give me for the whole day. Yeah, so goodness gracious. Yeah, up 65.17%. That is bonkers. That's bonkers. It's bonkers. Jesus. It's gone up $500 on me since I looked an hour ago. Holy crap. Dude. Goodness gracious. All right. So, it looks like Shiba Inu is getting some pump and dump going on. At least the pump part's happening. But I'm up, basically up 100% on what I transferred in. So, not too shabby. Not too shabby, Shiba Inu. All part of my shitcoin strategy. I got out of all the good coins and I just bought a whole bunch of shit coins across the board, hoping at some point they're going to get pumped. And it looks like I may have to be doing some selling here. Goodness gracious. Yes, Shiba Inu is going bonkers right now. All right. So, now my brain's all like, when it was up 50%, I was like, okay. But now I'm basically up 100% on what I spent on that stuff. Okay. All right. SHIB is rocking, Samuel. SHIB is rocking indeed. Oh, super chat. Sheep ducking cow. Ken Griffey interview was the most staged, cringe display of BS I've ever seen. He's a big fan of Joe Manchin politics. Probably. Joe Manchin is a big fan of people just paying him boatloads of money to not do anything good for anybody. So there you go. They got that in common. I'm gonna have to watch that interview when I get done here. I'm gonna do that and probably sell a bunch of Shiba Inu. Oh, I'm going back to Hawaii on Saturday. A friend of mine wants to go see the lava, and so he's flying me to Hawaii. We're flying to Hawaii on Saturday for 5 days to go look at the lava. So yeah, I'll be back in the Big Island Saturday through Thursday, looking at some lava. Might do a helicopter tour, so maybe I'll get some cool footage of the lava lake from a helicopter. I'm trying to find one I can afford because they're kind of expensive. But I am hoping that I can I'll bring the fancy camera. I've got a big telephoto, so hopefully I can get some cool footage of the lava lake in the summit if we do a helicopter tour. So that randomly happened yesterday. He's like, hey, I'm getting you a ticket to Hawaii and we're going on Saturday. I was like, I have to be back to teach. So I get back Friday morning. We do an overnight flight. I get back Friday morning just before I teach my day class and everything else. We're going online, baby. I'm going back to Hawaii for 5 days because why not? All right. So that's fun thing that just kind of happened. Why are ads so loud? Because people They wrote about this years ago. The ads were so much louder than like the television shows, because when ads happen, people get up and go to the kitchen or they go to the bathroom, and they want to make sure you have to hear the ad as you wander through your home. And so they make the sound levels on ads so much higher. Andrew Stewart says, "Hey Houston, I'm a responsible gun owner, but I think it's time for some reasonable regulations. Thoughts?" Oh boy, gun debate. Yeah. So, personal history. I know I'm American, so I know several people that have been murdered with guns. There's a wonderful young woman that I commuted with for years to Seattle, and an ex-boyfriend and stalker broke into her office at the University of Washington and killed her. A neighbor of mine was killed at the Las Vegas shooting. She was at the concert in Las Vegas where the Yahoo just started pumping everybody full of lead. She was murdered there. My little sister's best friend was killed by a Nazi at Parkland. He ran a summer camp with my sister for years in Pennsylvania, and then he was a geography teacher at Marjorie Stone Douglas High School. And saving a bunch of kids' lives. He got just ripped open with an AR-15. Another friend of mine, her son was murdered by his cousin, who was high out of his mind and just shot him like 20 times. Just awful stuff. I am all for legal, safe gun ownership. My issue is that we don't have safe gun ownership in this country. 600,000 guns are stolen from their legal owners every year, and those guns automatically enter the criminal underworld. So what I would like to see is licensing and registration and of weapons, and that you can't just sell a gun willy-nilly, that you have to, that the title, like a car, title will go with it from one owner to the next. And I'd also like to see, like what they do in Switzerland where there's mandatory gun ownership, is that you have to have safe storage for it, and you have to prove you have safe storage for it. If your guns get stolen in Switzerland, that's a big deal because they're supposed to be stored safely. Here, people's 600,000 guns are stolen every year, and nothing happens to those folks. And those guns enter the criminal underworld and are used to murder people. So I would like to see some responsibility for folks who don't secure their weapons, and those guns enter into illegal markets that way. I think registration and licensing is a great way to do that. And insurance, you might have to insure. If you have a gun, you should have to insure it, like some sort of liability insurance, just like you do with a car, because it's a machine designed to kill people. And when that machine is used the way it's intended to be used, it's going to kill something. So that's my take on gun legislation. Is that it's time to regulate the well-regulated militia, so let's regulate them. Like, if you are a responsible gun owner, you should have no problem with learning how to use a weapon, with learning how to store your weapon, storing it properly, things like that. It's when you refuse to do those things, then I don't think you're a responsible gun owner anymore, and you should not be a member of the militia. So that's my brief take on gun legislation there, Andrew. Yeah, we got way too many murders in America. Absolutely insane number of murders. And no other first world nation kills each other like we do. It's bonkers. It's bonkers, the amount of murder that happens. Okay. Good vibes. Can I switch bank account in my broker? You should be able to, or at least add a new bank account and maybe close the old one once you add the new one. So I don't see why you couldn't do that. You should be able to add all sorts of accounts to your brokerage. All right, I'm so goodness. I'm like an hour behind. I'm gonna try to scoot up here. I'm answering questions from literally an hour ago. Okay. I guess a lot of people are asking me when MOAS is going to happen. I don't necessarily know when MOAS is going to happen, but I think it's very likely to happen if the U.S. defaults on our debt obligations. Stock versus Houston. You said you have shares in Vanguard and Fidelity. My question is, can you sell shares after hours? If so, how? I currently have TD Ameritrade and want to switch over. I honestly haven't looked into that. I just assume that if I set a limit order, it will trade when that limit goes. I haven't looked into. I'll have to look into that. I honestly have no idea if they allow trading in pre-market or after hours. Yeah, I'll have to look that up. I'm sorry, I don't have the answer right now. You may have to get some sort of special permission to do after hours and pre-market on them. They like to do, you got to take this little quiz and now you can trade foreign stocks. You take this little quiz, now you can trade penny stocks. You have to take this little quiz, now you can. So they want to make sure that you at least know what you're doing before you can jump into other things. Okay. Clapping during the interview with MP3. I'm gonna check that one out. Ooh, we got a tropical one here from Optimus Grimy. Let's see where we're going, Optimus. Optimus Grimy is a good name, by the way. Okay, we are going to the tropics. We're going to where? Africa? All right, we are in wherever this is. We are at a field. We're in a field. Is that an airplane outline? What is this? Mud. Hippos. Those are hippos. Whoa. It's an airplane flying over taking a picture of hippos. So that's the airplane taking the picture of the ground. That is a lot of hippos. Holy moly. Look at that. That is really high res too. That is cool. Oh, well now I'm at Street View with a bunch of hippos. That is awesome. Optimus Grimy. That one's cool. That one's really cool. Look at all those hippos. I mean, we got it just goes out of frame here. And you can see low resolution hippos also. We got hippo orgy? What is going on, man? Look at all those things. That is cool. Good find. Excellent find, Optimus Grimy. I like that one. Yeah, hippos will kill you, man. It does not matter who you are, how long you've been associated with a hippo, they will just chomp down and take a chunk out of you. Yeah. Matthew LeGrace, how many times have people asked you if you've transferred to computer share? About 25 times a show for the last 3 weeks. A lot. No, I've not transferred to computer share. No, I have no intention of transferring to computer share. It seems like a pain in the butt, and what I'm getting from people is, oh, they're not transferring all their shares, just the shares they intend to hold forever. I don't intend to hold any of these shares forever. I intend to sell them for a boatload of money. And if I want GameStop stock back, I'll buy it post-MOAS when it's cheap. So, yeah, I want to sell every single one of my shares for an absolute insane amount of money. And so computer share seems like it's going to be very difficult to do that. Folks constantly tell me, no, you can set limit orders up to $1 million in computer share. But their fine print says, if you want to sell any securities worth more than $100,000, you literally have to sit down and write them a letter explaining your intentions. And they've got to verify your identity and do all these things. And it can take weeks for them to be able to sell that stuff. So I think the folks in computer share may unintentionally be creating the infinity pool, but then not get to enjoy the results of the infinity pool. They might be stuck like holding the bag on that. And I'm happy with Fidelity. I'm going to stay in Fidelity and operate in there. Okay. Houston, what is the longest volcanic eruption? Well, the longest one in modern history was Pu'u'o'o that went for almost 30 years, over 30 years on Kilauea. The longest in history is probably the Siberian Traps. Oh, there's a fly. Monkey's on the prowl trying to get a fly. It just came in here, buddy. It's in here. Get it. Let's see if we can go to the Siberian Traps. It's hard to see because unlike flood basalts in the American West, it's covered in trees. it doesn't like Siberian traps. Maybe I'll have to do. We'll go. Wait, turn off Google Earth. We'll turn that off. We will go to the Chrome, and we'll type in Siberian traps. Here we go. Wikipedia. So Siberian traps is this huge chunk of Siberia. This is a flood basalt that they think basically caused the Cambrian extinction. One of the largest extinction events in history, the PT boundary, Permian-Triassic boundary. So that when the Permian, 97% of all life on Earth died, basically from the CO2 that came out from this relentless flood basalts. To make that bigger so you can actually see it. Give me some pixels, baby. So these flood basalts, which is essentially, I don't know, half of Russia, just magma just oozing out for hundreds of years. And we can see that life basically vanished from Earth. Most of it was aquatic life at the time, and they think the ocean became so thick with carbon dioxide that it created so much carbonic acid that it just basically killed everything in the ocean. And that was it. So these Siberian traps are gigantic flood basalt that release way too much CO2. And the CO2 in the atmosphere grew, I can't remember what it was, but it was like 10 or 15% of the atmosphere was CO2 at the time as a result of this volcanic action. And just ridiculous. That was probably the longest volcanic action of all time. There's been several of those around the world that have happened. Nothing to that size yet. I'll go back to Google Earth here. Gotta do big old zoom outs so we can see the globe. I can't remember all the places that have had similar flood basalts, but essentially, like this whole chunk of India is all flood basalts. So about half of the Indian subcontinent is flood basalts. We've got huge flood basalts in the western United States. The Columbia River flood basalts, which I've talked about before. This whole region is all flood basalts from what was the Yellowstone volcano. So the North American continent is moving. It's moving this way. And as it moves this way, the hot spot that Yellowstone created on the mantle is basically the North America is moving over it. So the hot spot is moving further and further east as North America moves west. And so 15, 16 million years ago, this was the coastline of North America. And the hotspot volcano was out here in the ocean, just generating tons and tons of land that created what is now Eastern Washington, Eastern Oregon. And as the hotspot, as North America moved, the hotspot moved through Idaho and eventually into the thick continental plate of Wyoming. So rather than this nice flowing, oozing basaltic lava that comes from the mantle and the oceanic plate, it now has to go through like 100 kilometers of granitic silica-rich rock. And that rock doesn't melt very easily. And I call it herky-jerky lava because it's really viscous. And so it just kind of cracks and moves and cracks and moves. And a whole bunch of water gets trapped in there. Then it does gigantic explosive eruptions. So prior, the hotspot was giant flood basalts that flowed really, really easily with oceanic rock. And now it's explosive, dangerous, rhyolitic, granitic, silica-rich magmas. And then we also have Iceland. So Iceland is a combination of two things. One, it's on the spreading ridge, so there's natural volcanics from the spreading ridge happening. And two, it is a hotspot as well. So it's a hotspot hotspot's here, and the spreading ridge goes through here. So there's a little spot here just outside Reykjavik, out on the coast, where there's a bridge, and you can put 1 foot in Europe and 1 foot in North America because you're literally straddling the spreading ridge. But there's a hotspot generating these volcanoes out here that are just constantly flowing. So lots of very active volcanoes there. There's hotspots all over the place that make volcanoes. The Canary Islands, the Cape Verde Islands, Mauritius and La Reunion down here. What other hotspot ones do we have? Lots of Pacific Islands. Hawaii is one. Older ones would be like Rapa Nui, Easter Island. The Galapagos are hotspot volcanoes. Then there's there's super volcanoes that are hot spots. Long Valley in California. There's Death Valley. We went Long Valley, somewhere in here. Long Valley is Bishop. Long Valley here. This is all giant hotspot volcano. Yeah, well, Leaky Mountain has not been in here in a while to talk volcanics, but I'll be seeing him again when I get back to Hawaii. So we'll do some lava stuff with that guy. But yeah, so lots of volcanic eruptions that have gone on for a long time, but nothing quite like when Earth was a goo ball, and after first formation, the entire planet was just a giant teardrop of lava, essentially. Yeah. Okay. All right. Joe Hernandez asked me what I think of OCGN. Well, I don't know who that is, so I'll have to look that up. OCGN. Go back to the Chrome. $ OCGN. Ocugen. Oh my. So it went from $6 after hours. It's climbed to $7.47. Looks like it's doing some crazy things here. So year to date, its peak was $15.81, basically twice, and bouncing around. I wonder what the short interest is. Let's look up short interest. 27%. Dark pool volume is 60%. So like all the beam stocks we're seeing, looks like they're short squeeze potential, so they might be squeezing again. Beyond that, I don't know. I know nothing about that company, so I can't make any other. Yeah, I know nothing about Ocugen, but it looks like they are squeezing. I mean, they shot up 15% in just after hours alone. That's pretty impressive. Okay. Tyler English. Hey, Houston, I'm an effects artist. Wanted to mention Houdino Side Effects. It is a simulation and natural phenomenon tool for CGI. Check it out for class, practical use for math. All right. What's it called? Houdino? Houdino. FX. All right. I'm sure somebody at the film school knows what that is if I mention it. I do have, like, the film school where I'm teaching this quarter, I've got people that want to direct movies, people that want to edit movies, people that want to do special effects, people that want to act. So I've got also a huge array of them in the classes I teach, because I do the general ed, science, and math for them. So everybody has to come through me. Yeah. Jason Liang, isn't there a no-fly zone over the volcano? Yeah, over the volcano directly. You just fly kind of near it, and everything's okay. They don't do too much. They don't govern it too much unless they think it's going to be a pyroclastic explosion. They don't want you flying directly over the magma chamber. That's a terrible idea. But they'll let you fly next to it so you can look into the lava lakes and stuff. That's how the state makes a lot of its money. Yeah. Sell your Shiba for a helicopter ride. Pretty much. I might have to look at what Shiba Inu is doing again, just so I keep my eye on things here, right? Oh, starting to crash again. Yeah. Okay. Oh, shoot. Where did that go? I'm just going to sell it. There we go. If it drops again, I'll buy back in. And sold. Sweet. All right, cool. Shiba Inu is done for now. I made 100% on that. I'm happy. There goes our helicopter. Matt, if you're watching, there goes our helicopter ride. We're going to fly over a volcano, baby. JH, as soon as you get there, lava will disappear. Don't. It probably will. I'll probably just go back in the earth, be like, no, Houston doesn't get to look at me. Oh, Joshua Cheney sent me a super chat. I'm so sorry. Let's look for Joshua Cheney's super chat here. Sorry, I get talking and totally. I missed a couple super chats. Let's get to him here. All right, there's Monty. Joshua Cheney. Houston, do you think somehow the government shuts us down and MOAS doesn't happen and they essentially screw us out of our shares? I think it'd be really, really, really stupid of the government to do that. It will show international investors that we are not a safe market in which to place our money, because we don't let the effects of the market take place. There's a lot of international investors. I mean, 40% of investment in U.S. markets are foreigners. And if we screw over the foreigners, they're not going to bring their money back. They're going to put it into Hong Kong or Frankfurt or London. They're going to put it somewhere else, and a whole bunch of wealth is going to get drained out of the United States. So I think it's a really terrible idea if the government shuts down the MOAS and doesn't let it happen, because there's a whole bunch of stocks. We're talking thousands of stocks that have been overly shorted over the last 30 years that need a correction. The books need to be balanced. Otherwise, they can't start fresh again. So I think there's quite a bit of incentive to not shut everything down. But thank you, Joshua. Sorry I missed your super chat there. Mr. Frinch, I missed your super chat as well. Hi, Houston, longtime fan and lurker. What do you think will happen first, MOAS or crash, or completely simultaneous? Well, probably crash at this point. My guess is, especially if we lose this game of chicken with the debt ceiling, then the entire market falls off a cliff globally. And as Janet Yellen says in her last talk to Congress, she was like, look, there's going to be a liquidity crisis and a margin crisis across every institution that exists. She basically says that hedge funds are going to get vaporized out of existence if we don't pass the debt ceiling, we don't raise the debt ceiling. And if that happens, then liquidation happens and the banks all pay through the nose and we got to start bailing them all out. So crash, MOAS, or if we're lucky, GameStop comes out with their NFT and manages to trigger a MOAS before a large market crash. But I think at the rate we're going to see a market crash before the MOAS. Okay, Monkey Wrench Studios. Have you covered the Facebook shutdown? Apparently they promoted posts related to January 6th. Zuck wanted the riot to happen. Plenty of other things too. Goodness. Well, Facebook, I think, is still down. We'll do our quick little check here. Clickety-clack. Yep. Still down there. How about Instagram? Can't refresh feed. I got some pictures, though, showing up this time. But it's all from days ago. Nothing new. Yeah. So, yeah. That's what we're on. But they definitely promoted posts related to January 6th. I know that. I saw links to those things pop up. So they're going to be facing some issues because they take money from right-wing and supremacist groups to promote ads. I remember I had an ad pop up. It was for the Custom Clothing Company, all spelled with K's, KKK, right? And they had white supremacist slogans on their shirts. So the company, whose name was KKK and had white supremacist slogans on their shirt, were paying for ads on Facebook. So I reported the ad. I said, hey, this is hate speech. This is racist. And Facebook was like, yeah, I don't see them violating our terms of service with these very racist sweatshirts. So, you know, they knew what they're doing. They've been doing it for a long time, and they seem to have no moral qualms, which is really weird because Zuckerberg is Jewish, and he seems to be just fine with white supremacists utilizing a site to basically say, hey, kill all the Jews. And that seems to be a poor long-term strategy for Zuckerberg. And now it's kind of biting him in the ass. And he got what appears to be hacked out of existence today. Okay. What time we got? It's 2:16. I can go to just about 3 o'clock today, so I got some time. I am really hungry at the moment, though. My stomach is like gurgly, gurgly. All right. Hoshi Gaming asking about thoughts on samsara and the Buddhist reincarnation paths. I would like to know your take on it. Cheers. I like the philosophy of Buddhism. I like the philosophy of Zen Buddhism, but I don't necessarily believe in reincarnation paths. I think when you go, that's it. You gotta make the most of the time you have on Earth, and because that's it. And if I'm wrong and there's more beyond the Earth, then I guess I'll learn that lesson. But I don't want to spoil the time I have worrying about what happens after I die. Yeah. So the reincarnation path is trying to get to like the Hindu moksha or meditate your way into absolute Zen. By all means, go for it if it works for you. I'm gonna spend my time arguing with weirdos on Twitter because that's what makes me happy. All right. Okay. Juan Beckett, I have never dated anyone. If I get my MOAS tendies, would it be difficult to find and meet a genuine partner? I'm worried that others will approach me just to exploit me for money. Yeah, they will. But to be exploited for money, you have to be willing to be exploited, essentially. You have to be like, yeah. A lot of the billionaires who date teenage supermodels, they know exactly what exchange is happening there, and they seem pretty on board with it. But you know, if you're looking for folks for that true love, then that's what you're looking for. You know, you may get stuck with somebody who is pretending to truly love you, but really they're using you for money. But just don't advertise your money. Just live a comfortable existence and find that person who loves you for you. And if after you're married, you can be like, hey, so it turns out I'm rich or whatever. Like, sign this prenup because I have way more money than you ever thought I did. That might be the way to go. Prince and pauper it. But yeah, finding that true love is always a difficult thing anyway. So, I'm not a love guru. I'm a terrible advisor on that. I don't go out on the prowl. I let them find me. That's how I roll. Okay, and a Rulnick got a thing here. Okay, got to turn on the Google Earth. I turned off the Google Earth. There we are. Google Earth. Bing. What you got for me, Anna? Boom. Uh-oh. It says can't understand. Oh, that's because I accidentally left Siberian on there. Let's try that again. There we go. Where are we going? We are going to China. We are going to an island off China. We are going to a forest. It's a very dark forest. It's a very, very dark forest. It's a mountain in a very dark forest. And Anna, there's nothing here. I am in China. I'm on a mountain. Oh, is it one of these local locations? Oh, am I going here? To this? Is that where you want to send me? To this building here? Nagong Ping? Tian Tan Buddha. Oh, we're going to that Buddha. Ah, that's probably where I want to send me. You just you're off by a couple degrees. All right. So, let's see the Buddha up close. Let's get in there. Let's get down to ground level. Come on, go. There we go. Hey, there's the Buddha. Look at that. All right, that's a cool spot. Looks like temple there. Little village supporting everything. No Walmart supercenters. What a gorgeous view that is. That's pretty cool. Got the little lake. Got the ocean out there. Cool spot. Cool spot indeed. All right. I dig it. Got the radio tower so everyone can watch TV. I wish there was more like just giant statues put on top of hills. Why not? I just love the idea of like just giant statues put on top of things. Like in Discovery Park in Seattle, I always thought it'd be awesome to have. Let me zoom out so we can get to Discovery Park here. Was that Hong Kong? That's where that is. Okay. All right. Across the ocean. Back to Seattle. So Discovery Park is this park off the tip of the Magnolia neighborhood. And it's a big giant bluff. And I always thought, it's an old military base. I always thought it'd be awesome just to put, I don't know, like a 300-foot tall Chief Sealth standing here overlooking the ships that come through the passage and everything. I think there just needs to be more giant, awesome statues in places. Because why not? Colossus of Rhodes doesn't exist anymore. We've got Statue of Liberty. We've got a whole bunch of statues dedicated to kind of assholes everywhere. Lots of big, cool Buddhas. I appreciate those. But why not big statues of other historical figures? Looking out over things and being celebrated and honored. Let's do those. Excellent coordinates. Well, you're off just by a smidge, but a good spot nonetheless. Monkey Wrench Studios, Facebook trying to drive a wedge between left and right. Hi, Monkey. Come on, get up here. I think Facebook knows that the more fighting they have, the more the people like me who like to argue show up and they get those clicks, those angles. How dare you? And they know which side of their bread is buttered. They did the studies. They figured it out. Nick Callis, after Moas, can we buy people to work for us for free until they die? I'm thinking minority population could be hedge fund managers. Well, I think hedge fund managers will be shining your shoes at the train station and misspelling your name on Subway cups after this. Actually, probably not. The hedge fund managers have offshored everything in the Cayman Islands, and so all their clients' money is hidden out there, and they're just going to cut and run. Like, I doubt Griffin is ever going to be poor. He's got so much money offshored. He doesn't have to worry about ever being poor. It's the people that are members of a hedge fund that are going to get vaporized out of existence. The Chadwicks IIIs, who are fourth generation billionaire, their money's tied up with these hedge funds and it's just going to disappear. And these folks who have never had to have a job or skill in their entire lives are going to find themselves suddenly their home in Greenwich, Connecticut is being auctioned, and their home in the Bahamas is being auctioned, and their apartment in Fifth Avenue is being auctioned. And they're going, oh my gosh, oh no, what do I do? And they're going to suffer. They're going to be the Schitt's Creek. That's where they're going to be. William Morgan says, Facebook employees locked out of building? What? This stuff happening while I'm doing the show, and I have no idea what's going on. Yeah. Manifest density, the only observatory I've ever had an opportunity to visit. So this is 44 degrees, so we are in 85. So that's got to be Midwest. Let's go here. Let's see what observatory manifest density has been to. Yep, Midwest and Michigan. We have a little observatory out here. Where are we? Looks like got some houses. Is that a high school? Where are we going? I don't see, unless there's a observatory in one of these buildings. Can't see. But I've always wanted to hit the beaches of Lake Michigan at some point. I have a friend I grew up with, and his grandparents had some sort of cabin up here along the lake, and they would go every summer to where there was a bunch of dunes, and it looked really cool. I never got to go. But it's a cool area up here. We got Cedar, Maple City. Yeah. Michigan is one of 2 states I've been to. The only 2 states I haven't been to are Michigan and Vermont. I've been to every other state. Because if you're driving across the country, you can't drive through Michigan. You drive under Michigan. And to get to Maine, you got to go through New Hampshire. And I've never been to Vermont, never been to Michigan. So I'll knock those suckers off the list someday. I've not been there yet. I would like to go. Especially along the coast. I want to go up in Upper Peninsula as well, and see what the Yoopers are all about. There's some really cool copper mines up here. You take tours of too. A lot of copper up there. Michigan. The reason why the automotive industry was based out of Detroit was there's these what are they called? Stromatolites. These ancient stromatolite fossils in Michigan. So some of the first creatures to photosynthesize were these kind of coral-like things called stromatolites. And there's a few of them that still in existence in Australia. And the Earth's atmosphere had low oxygen levels, so there wasn't much oxidization that happened of metals. And the way these stromatolites metabolized oxygen into carbon dioxide into oxygen, the other way around, meant they would also suck up iron from the soil, and they would put them into these bands when they would make their structure. So it would be kind of limestone-ish iron, and they created what are called banded iron formations in their fossils. So those banded iron formations are where we got most of the iron that we made steel, and a huge chunk of them came from Michigan. So the auto industry was based in Michigan because that's where the steel was coming from these ancient fossils, where there's a whole bunch of unoxidized iron ore that was really easy to process. There's some cool stuff in Michigan that I really want to see and check out someday. So, yeah. But, yeah. You got to look at some globular clusters with that. Excellent. Yeah, check out. There's whatever city you're living in, there's probably some astronomical society that has a cool telescope you can go visit and check stuff out. I highly recommend it. We've got one where I live, the Ritchie Observatory. So we go all the way to Bainbridge. We go to Battle Point Park. We go in here, and that's gonna be Ritchie Observatory. They got a planetarium there, but the Ritchie Observatory is on top. It's a 27-inch telescope. Nice size, about yay or so. Hand carved by my friend's grandfather, who was a Boeing engineer, and they built the observatory. He had the mirror and all the apparatus, and then he died before he could build it. So they raised a bunch of money and put this cool telescope, and they got a planetarium in there. But there's always cool telescopes in lots of communities, and there's always an astronomical club. Go visit them. Go hang out with those nerds for a while. They'll show you some cool shit. And yeah, I highly recommend it. If you're close to a city, it can sometimes be hard to see things. The UW Observatory is out by Ellensburg, somewhere in here, somewhere on this mountain, I think. Somewhere in here is the UW Observatory. It's a bigger one. I think it's a meter or two across. And they also have a telescope at, not Kitt Peak. It is New Mexico. What's it called, Monkey? What's the name of the observatory where Mount Phoenix? Mount Coyote? I can't remember, but it's in New Mexico. Most of the observatories in the United States, the big ones on the mainland, are in the southwest, where there's not very much cloud cover and you can get pretty high mountains. So I've got a friend that works for one of the observatories out here in Kitt Peak. Where's Kitt Peak? Let's go to... Yeah. Kitt Peak. So it's away from the city of Tucson, but still get some light pollution out there. But Kitt Peak has a bunch of big observatories here. Yeah, it's a whole bunch of observatories all on this mountain range here, on this ridge. Whole bunch. So, yeah, go visit. If you're in LA, go visit Mount Wilson. Go to Palomar. Go to whatchamajigger? Duh. Not Hollywood Bowl. Where am I looking? Glendale. Greek Theater. Griffith Observatory. God dang it! Why can't I remember that name? Go to the Griffith Observatory. Griffith Observatory. Say hi to my friend JB Waterman, who does shows here, and he'll do an awesome planetarium show for you at Griffith Observatory. My mouth does not want to say those words, but there's cool ones all over the place. If you're in New York, go to Corning Glass. You can see where they make the giant mirrors. So they used to just make a big piece of glass and then they would grind it down and go from there. Now they do cool stuff where they take these huge cauldrons and they superheat them so all the sand turns to liquid, and then they spin it. And as they spin it, it makes this natural parabolic shape. So then all they have to do is, and then they slowly cool it down over weeks or months. And as it slowly cools down while it's spinning, it leaves the nice, perfect parabolic shape in it. And then they polish that up and put, aluminum or silver on the mirror to make it super shiny. Cool stuff. How those things get built. All right. I'm missing any super chats. I may have. Well, just talk and talk and talk. Okay. Nick Callis. Why was Griffin doing a live Q&A today when he's facing ruin? Is he disconnected? Well, he's a sociopath. That's for one. So he's probably I need to do some PR and get out ahead of this thing. So my guess is that he picked someone to ask him softball questions, and that's what he did. I haven't seen the interview yet, so I can't speculate on that. But my guess is that's why he was doing that today. Is he had a bunch of pre-approved softball questions and went from there. I just breathed my water. You can't breathe water, by the way. You can try. But to date, I've not found a way to successfully breathe water. Oh my goodness. Okay, I'm going to try not to choke to death. And now my voice doesn't work. Stupid water. Oh. Okay, now I've got a terrible voice because I just tried to inhale a whole bunch of water. Ghosts in transit. Will the U.S. government find a way to tax offshore wealth? Might help out to boost tax revenue. I sure hope so. And we have something ridiculous. It's $40 trillion of wealth from the United States is offshored. $40 trillion. That's several years of our entire GDP, all offshored and offshore accounts. As of a few years ago, there was $300 billion from Apple alone that was offshored. There's several hundred billion from Microsoft, Amazon. They like to form these bank accounts and put headquarters in places like Ireland to avoid taxes. Halliburton moved their headquarters to Dubai to avoid paying taxes in the U.S. So there's lots of folks who do stuff like that. And I personally think the U.S. government can do something about it, but they choose not to. But I think, you say, hey, repatriate your money in the United States, pay your taxes, or we're just going to take all of it. That should be the gun to the head. It's hey, Apple, you can repatriate your $300 billion in the United States, or we can just take all of it and you'll have no money. Why not? Why not do that? They're supposed to repatriate that money anyway, and they're refusing to. So then just force them to do it. What are they going to do? What are you going to do about it, Apple? Try me. I have no power. But yeah, it would definitely help boost tax revenue. But our government is run by rich people for rich people, so they're definitely not doing that. Yeah. All right. Did I? Oh, I think I did that one. Okay, sorry. Looking at coordinates popped up on my screen. Protege son heard Sixth Amendment. My mouth is not working. Heard Sixth Amendment clause in regards to jury trial. There's 50 square miles of Yellowstone that fall in Idaho. If caught, someone potentially get away with murder, felonies, etc. because nobody lives there. Yeah. So, there's a spot where Yellowstone crosses into Idaho. So Yellowstone Park kind of crosses in here, and it's just this little sliver, and there's no communities that live in here, and the federal jurisdictions fall by state. And so if you commit a crime on federal land, like Yellowstone National Park, you are under the governance of whatever federal court is in that state. So if you commit something in the Wyoming side, I'm not even showing my thing. Oh, dang it. I'm not showing my... There. Sorry, didn't bring my map up. Do I have it so I can click and have parks outlined? Places, orders and labels. I thought I have it for parks. Parks aren't outlined here. But Yellowstone National Park is a big chunk here. And a little bit falls inside of Idaho on this side. And no one lives on this side. There's not really any roads or trails for the most part that go through here. And if you commit a crime on federal land, you go to federal court in that state for that state's jurisdiction. But you need a jury trial, and the jury trial must come from people within a certain distance of where that crime was committed. And out here, there is no federal court for this district that happens in this weird little spot in Idaho. So apparently you can go murder people there and get away with it because of some sort of clause. I'm not sure if that's been tested or not. I'm sure there might be just bodies littered everywhere out here. I don't know. But apparently you can commit crimes, and then there's no way they can convict you because they can't get jury from this area to do that, to weigh in on your court case. Skillful thread. If you had to put a percentage on the MOAS, what would it be? I think NFT might be the only way. Thoughts? I think if the GameStop NFT is so diabolical that it essentially removes GameStop shares from the market and puts them into its own blockchain market on Loopring, 100% MOAS happens. I think that if the value of bonds drops significantly and the market takes a giant crash, MOAS happens. So either way, MOAS is happening. Because one way or the other, it's going to force liquidations and buybacks of those shorted stocks. Okay. All right. Did I miss any? No, I got that. Okay. Sorry, Manifest. The observatory was on the beach. Let's go back to Michigan here. Where were we? We were somewhere up here. Right? Maple City. I already forgot exactly where it was. Somewhere over here? Is that where we were? Yeah, there's the fields. I can there. So the observatory is out here on the beach. There's a nice pool. Looks like a little resort or something there. Nice waterfront vacation homes. Oh, there's the observatory. There it is. Found it. Haha. It's also a nice little fire pit. People can come sing their kumbayas. Cool. Must be decent. It's got a dome. It's got to be a decent sized telescope. And there's not much light pollution out there. I'm sure on a sunny night, it looks great. Good spot. Good spot, Manifest. Cody Yaw says the dunes were created because they clear-cut lumber after rebuilding Chicago after the Great Chicago Fire. I just learned something new. I did not know that. Cool. Where are the dunes anyway? Are they further south? Looking for dunes, looking for dunes, looking for dunes, looking for dunes. I don't see any dunes there. There's some nice beach. Where are them dunes? That looks nice and sandy. What are you? Looks kind of duney out there. The only dunes I've ever played in are in the southwest, out in like the Mojave, and then there's Honeyman Dunes out in Oregon, which are awesome. Honeyman is somewhere down here. Oregon Sand Dunes. It's north of Bandon. Got some dunes out here. Lots of dunes. Dune City. Honeyman State Park. How do you spell that? Honeyman. Is this it? Am I spelling it right? It's been a long time. Yeah. Yeah, these are those dunes. This place is really cool. There's a lake. Might be this lake. There's also another lake you can go to. And it's just big sand dunes in the lake. So you just buy like saucers you use for sledding and just slide down the dunes in the lake and go skipping across. The lake was cold as hell if I remember correctly. But some cool dunes out here. And weird little lakes that are in the dunes too. Dunes are fun. They're really fun to just go rolling down. Okay, back to Big Houston. We got 15-ish minutes. And I need to do some dinner and get the heck out of here. Any thoughts on HYG? Is it going to keep going down? What did HYG do? I haven't looked. I've got several options on there. Puts. Back to that. Go there. We're going to search HYG. And it's dropped a little bit, but still in that area it's been for most part of the year, which is between $87 and $88. Yeah, its low was October 29th of last year, was $83, and it's in the $70-$80 range ever since. $87, $78 range ever since. So, but again, it dropped 20% or so. March of last year, when the economy was about to go off the cliff from COVID, before they dumped a bunch of cash in there. So, if the economy is gonna go in the toilet, HYG puts are gonna follow it, are gonna explode. So that's what people are betting on. William Morgan says Facebook did an upgrade this morning and it crashed the system. So I'm getting mixed messages from all over the place here as what's happening with Facebook. Oh, Project Sun's got coordinates. I love these coordinates. I love you guys when you guys give me coordinates. Let's see here. Back to scene. Back to there. Go like that. And we are in the southeast, I think. Oh, east. Sorry. No, we're in Asia. That was east, not west. Coordinates. All right, we're zooming in. We're somewhere. I have no idea where we are. Sugar. We're in a little town of some kind. It looks like a cool looking structure there or something. Is that a pool? Are we inside a pool? We are inside. Ooh. We're inside a whole bunch of steps that go down to like a well or something. That's awesome. It's like MC Escher come to life. Cool. So how do you get down there? So you go down, hop off that, go down, go down, go down, go down, go down, go down. What's the name of this place? And where are we? Are we in India? Nepal? Exit Street View. There's no name for it. Nothing. Just a cool spot in wherever we are. Where is this place? Looks like a mosque there. Where are we? Where are we? A mountain. Jaipur. Rajasthan. Oh, we are in India. Oh, I can't figure out them because the whole map is upside down because I spun things around. There we go. We're in northern India. That's a cool spot. I dig it. I dig it, Protege son. I want to go to that thing, whatever it is. It's like a well of some kind. Smoke water. Ah. All right. Oh man, you guys give me so many coordinates. Speaking of water, Stacks McGee. It's giving me something here. 5.34 feet. What is under the ocean? Okay, let's see where we are. Flying into the Pacific. Flying into... Oh, it's a seamount. Yeah. So, is this Empire Banks, Grand Banks? I forget what they call it. No, this is off Malibu. So it's a seamount. So if ocean levels drop, we have an ice age that will become a piece of land, just like much of Catalina, and these islands will kind of connect to everything. There is the seamounts off of San Diego. What's the name of it? Is it Grand Banks? Something like that. Where is it? It's a huge surf spot. You have to take a big ship out to, and it will break because it's like 6 feet of water somewhere out here. Coronado Bank. I forget what it's called. It's like Empire Banks or Grand Banks or something. And it's just like literally, if the water's like 6 feet deep, like I can probably stand in it and have top of my head above the water. And when huge storms happen, you get like giant waves that form off of San Diego on one of these little seamounts out here, and I just don't remember the name of it. But what is where you took us here? Santa Monica Basin? No, that wasn't it. Where was it? It was up by Malibu. Here's one here. Sorry. Yeah, this is a little seamount that got shaved off by ocean waves. So my guess is if it's only 5 feet deep, you'll get some awesome breaks here when huge waves come in. Yeah. Those are cool. Now these seamounts, the ones that happen off here, this used to be a subduction zone. So North American continent used to be gliding over the Pacific plate, and you got a whole bunch of volcanoes that happened in this area as a result. But the San Andreas formed and started traversing everything this way. So a lot of the mountains now are forming on the wrinkle of the San Andreas fault that goes up through Southern California. And a lot of these mountains are former mountains that were from when the plate was diving under and got uplifted as a result of like the wrinkling along the coast, and are now just getting eaten away by the ocean. So there's not new land forming out here. It's mostly land getting eaten away by wave action from the oceans. But we get seamounts all over the place. Most of them are from island chains like Hawaii here, where hotspot volcano generates big islands, and then the plate moves this way, and moves that way, and the islands start to erode and head out. And then as the islands erode, you get like the very tippy top of the ancient volcano, like Nihoa here, and then they become little seamounts, kind of flat mounts, and you can get further away. You get Necker Island, which is one of these little seamounts that are left. And you can get the atolls that form, which are the coral reefs that form around the edges of what was the island. So you got Frigate Shoals. Midway will be out here, and so on. So you have lots of these little atolls that form. But as the water gets colder, the islands get smaller. So here's a little atoll of Midway that formed on the tippy top of one of those volcanoes, ancient volcanoes. And so as the Pacific gets colder, the coral reef gives away, and you won't see those islands as much. But in places like the Bikini Atolls and Marshall Islands and Kiribati, you'll have lots of ancient volcanoes that are long. The volcano was here; it's long gone, but the shoreline of the volcano kept building up limestone, and so there's coral reefs that ring the entire ancient volcano, and that's where the islands are today. So that's where these atolls are. And so you have these little island chains that will happen, and they're very flat, and they're very dangerous to be on if there's tropical storms or if ocean levels rise. They can vanish very easily. Yeah, so seamounts can do things like that. Oh, super chat, missing that. Arumagagon. How do you say that? Gagnon. Okay, I'll just... Whatever your name is there. All right, hey Houston. How can Torch preferred shares from Metamaterial 1 options be delivered if dividend is spin-off CIE share instead of cash? Keep up the good work. Well, sorry. Roommate's talking in the other room. I shut the door. Good question. So, what are you talking about? So, MMAT1 options are for Torchlight shares. So, you get 100 Torchlight shares or 50 metamaterial shares. And apparently, if you exercise those options, you get the preferred shares that were issued as a result of the merger from Torchlight. I don't know how they get delivered, honestly, because like in my account, I don't have the ability of transferring them to anyone. But I guess if you are an institution, you have that ability. Now, there's two things that may happen with those shares. One is a preferred cash dividend if they manage to sell all of their vast leases and land holdings for oil. And the other way is, what's been speculated is they're going to create a new oil company. Now, oil prices are through the roof, and they're going to turn all the preferred shares into shares of stock in that oil company. And that oil company is not publicly traded, so you'll be holding stock in a non-publicly traded company. How they're going to get those things into your account if you bought those options, I guess you'll have to exercise and see, because I have no idea how that's going to work. Yeah, your guess is as good as mine on that one. Sorry, I am totally useless in that regard. Okay. Did I miss any other super chats while I was yakking about volcanoes? That happens a lot. No, I got them all. Sweet. Okay. Okay, that was Stacks McGee. We got 5 minutes, so let's see what questions pop up. Sorry if I'm missing chats. I'm trying to stay somewhat timely with the questions I pull out of here, because I do get in trouble where I'll be answering questions from like 10 years ago. Yeah. Rhymes of Fee got another tropical one for me. I love it when we go tropics. Let's see here. What we got? Oh, sorry. Rhymes of Fee does not like that location. Oh, wait. Maybe if I delete that? Does that work? Nope. Sorry. Rhymes of AMC. It's not like in your things there, but Rob Murphy's got one. Let's see what Rob Murphy's got for us. Oops, I forgot to turn on the thing. There we go. Spinning. We're going somewhere in the U.S. We're going back to Michigan. A lot of Michigan going on. We are next to a stream. Got a stream. We've got a field. We've got some old trees. We got anything interesting out here? We got a baseball field. We got tennis courts. Is this where you hid the bodies? I have no idea. I don't know what I'm looking at. I see nothing. I see nothing. Maybe we'll zoom in and see what the ground view is like. Maybe there's something interesting down here. Keep going. Keep going. Give me that street view. Wonk. Whole lot of nothing. Ugh, you got me again. Got me going to nowhere. Oh, Al Capone's hangout. Al Capone hung out here in this park? What, when he was a kid or something? Is that what I'm looking at? So Al Capone spent time here. Is this where he got syphilis? B-Ball 3710. What are the chances hedgies weasel their way out of MOAS? 0. All they can do is delay the inevitable. Yeah. That's all they can do. All right, round the fee. You got. All right. Got everyone here. Boom. Where are we going? Does not like the way you do that. Por qué? Why don't you like that? Maybe if I do that as west and that as north, do you like that? Nope. Rounds of fee, it just does not like your coordinates. I don't know why. I'm sorry. I apologize. My Google Earth is just saying, no. I don't like that. Okay, I gotta scroll back and see if there's questions I missed. That's the thing about logging. What we got? What we got? Okay, I think I've gone through all those. Sorry, I'm scrolling. See if there's anything that's popping up new. Ian Rain, Houston, what are your thoughts on the real price of AMC versus prices we see? We could do a little math on that. All right, we got to turn off the Chrome, got to turn off the Google Earth, and have the calculator up. Now, where's my calculator on my screen? There we go. Okay, so AMC closed at what? It's been bouncing around like $40 all week. Don't open. Oh goodness, that's a big drop. AMC is $36.75. Okay, so currently 36.75, and there's 500 million-ish shares out there. So we're at a market cap of about $18 billion for AMC right now, give or take. Now, if the number of naked shares in existence are as big as we think they are in the billions, possibly tens of billions of naked shares, synthetics that they've generated, let's say it's 10 billion, just so we keep our numbers nice and round, right? That they've generated 10 billion naked shares at $36.75 per share. We're looking at a market cap of $367 billion. This puts them in like the Fortune 20, top 20 companies on planet Earth, as far as market cap goes. Now, if we take that synthetic amount, that what I like to call the true market cap, if you're going to count the number of shares that people believe they own, based on the price that people are trading for each one, and you want to divide that by the 500 million shares that should exist. So let's divide that sucker by the 500 million shares that should exist, right? We get a true price for AMC that's $735. That's how much each share of AMC would cost if all the value that's been sunk into AMC shares were represented by just the 500 million float of AMC. So that's how I calculate that. If we do the same thing for GameStop, so we think there's probably a billion shares of GameStop or more. It's currently trading at 171. So multiply that by 171. Then we get a true market cap of about $171 billion. But there's only 73 million shares in existence. So that means the true value of each share of GameStop is $2,342. So that's how I work that. So right now GameStop is ridiculous. Okay. Anna Rulnick asking, what the heck is this? I saw it when you were looking at the dunes. Oh, let's go. All right, open up the Google Earth again. Clickety clack. Go like that and go. Where are we going? Which dunes are we going to? We're spinning all over the place here. We're back at... Looks like a drain pipe? What is that? Looks like a big giant drain pipe, doesn't it? I don't know what that is. This where someone pulls the plug on that sucker, all of Lake Michigan vanishes? Looks like a giant drain pipe to me. Weird. I don't know. I don't know what that is. Good eye, though. That's a weird little drainy donut thing. Look at that. Just look at that thing. In high def. Can we... What are you? Well, no one's been there to take a picture. Huh. Weird. Is this where the agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. have their base? I don't know. Weird, Anna. Okay, I gotta get going here, folks. Yes, Brendan, I talked about the Pandora Papers when I opened the show, so just scroll back to the beginning there, and I'll talk about that. Houston, look at Rob Murphy comment. I'll try to get there. Rob Murphy, concrete trees and bridges. McCordy Park stone bridges. Which Rob Murphy are we looking for? It's overflow part of 100-year floodplain. Ah, floodplain. Interesting. There we go. Somewhere to send that water, I guess. Yes, Rob Murphy, Al Capone's hangout. Is that all I'm missing? I got the coordinates. I went to Al Capone's park, his hangout. There's a house built underground there, and there's a cement tree. There's the chimney for the fireplace. There was a cement chute from the mailbox to the house to drop alcohol in. Oh, that's cool. That's way cooler than the random little park I was looking at. Why didn't Wikipedia have a little sucker there talking about that, Rob? Awesome. Man, probably is where he got syphilis. Okay, folks, I got going for the day. My Wednesday show, I think, is going to be in the evening. So it'll be a Houston After Dark show, and we'll go from there. All right. And Brennan, I talked about Pandora Papers at the beginning of the show. So scroll back and you'll see it there. And I'll say, Avita Zane. I'll see you Wednesday evening. Bye-bye.